Greetings, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, greetings to you. This is Yasha Ben Israel, a.k.a. Terry Whitfield, back at you one more again with one more special. I'd like to ask you before I get started, please subscribe. I need to get my subscriptions up. Just please subscribe. I need that. Also, like and share and comment. Why ignore the evidence? That's the name of this show. It's based off of a recap of Saneter Studios. Big ups to those brothers and sisters over there for supplying the content for us to recap. And we're recapping for education, critiquing, and entertainment purposes. So in this video, we'll see that Saneter will ask the question that once one has been presented with the evidence, how or why do you or can you ignore it? My first answer to that would be, first, my brother, look in the mirror and ask yourself. And before I even begin to expound on that, this video exemplifies that. Number two, the second reason why one would ignore evidence, because the evidence is insufficient. It's defective and insufficient evidence. If one presents me with insufficient and defective evidence, I am going to ignore it. Evidence in itself is not the end all be all, okay? You must understand that. Evidence within itself is not the end all be all, because you can have insufficient evidence. You can have evidence that lacks in quality. You can have evidence that lacks in quantity. Okay? You can have evidence that is defective and broken. Okay? This is insufficient evidence, which also makes your stance conjecture. This is why I ignore evidence. Now, and I can prove that your evidence is insufficient, lacking in either quantity or quality, most times in both. Okay? And I also can prove that your evidence is defective. Now, my question becomes, why do you, Saneter, and all of your staff reject evidence that is sufficient and that is not defective? Why do you reject it? It is because, as you said, you're down with Satan, and you will fight for and to protect the lie. The reason that I make these videos is because Saneter, number one, and every flunky on his show must understand that he can control his show all he wants to, but he cannot control the world. And he does not control the world, okay? The reason why I make these videos is because I have a voice. And I have a very wise and intellectual and respected voice. This is why I make these videos. And he does not respect my voice, because every time someone gets on his show and begin to expose their lies and their quote-unquote fuckery, Saneter tactfully does everything to try to obstruct what you're trying to say. He pull out every tactic in the book. He berates your information. You understand what I'm saying? And your information can come from Harvard scholars, Yale and Princeton scholars. You know what I'm saying? Oxford and things like that. And he would debunk it. And this guy doesn't even have a fucking high school degree. You dig? And that's the silliness in it. Because I do have a voice and I do have a platform, this is the reason why I come back over here where I can speak, where my voice can be heard, so the truth can get out. Because one thing that Saneter has vowed against is the truth. What he is about is his way. It's Saneter's way versus the truth. And I'm going to go with the truth over everything. For the record, fuck Saneter's way. Saneter's way ain't never did a goddamn thing for me. Saneter's way has only made a way against me. So fuck Saneter's way. I'm going with the way of the truth. Let's get this thing started.
Hosea 4 and 6 says, what? My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, science, education. Saying the same thing you saying, Q-Butter. Knowledge. It didn't say morality.
Yeah, but Jose is saying that about his people. He's saying his people is destroyed.
Come on now, bro.
Not African people. He's saying they're his people.
Bro. Israelites are African, bro. What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah, but who? No, this is the different people he's talking about.
Doctor.
You hear that? You hear that? All of that right there is a lie. You see, that is something that they have not proven to us. No one on Saneter Studios have inconclusively proven that the Israelites were not an African people. Okay? We have Jews, white Jews, that have said that the original Jews were black. But Saneter, a black man, is saying, we talk about Jewish rabbis. And you have Saneter himself saying that those are not our people. Those are not an African people. He has not ever proven that with history. He has never proven that through linguistics. The only thing that they have attempted to prove that through was archaeology. And one thing for certain, archaeology have not and cannot determine the skin color of a people. Now, again, people, all of my videos are used for entertainment, educational, and critiquing purposes, and I reserve the right for those. Here is a European Jew. This is a European Jew. His name is Henry Abramson, and he is a European Jew, and he is aware of black Jews in the world. He is aware of the history of black Jews in the world. And not only is he aware of black Jews in the world, he is aware of me. And I will prove that with this video as well. Let's get started. And listen to this man very carefully for about the next 60 seconds.
Negative attitudes that are quite harmful. And I'd like to look at the issue of Jews of color, the history, the long and really important history of multiple communities of Jews of color. Today, we're going to start with the dominant society, actually, and we're going to look at the fact that Ashkenazic Jews have a color, and it happens to be in our society a fairly valuable color. It's white eligible, at least it has been since about the 1940s, and hopefully we'll explore exactly what that means over the course of this lecture. But it is by no means the only color, and it is probably not the original color. As one of my colleagues at the university, a very inspirational Jew of color that I interviewed to get some sense of, like, you know, what is your experience like? How should I go into this talk? She said to me, you're going to have a very hard time explaining to Ashkenazim that Jews weren't necessarily always Ashkenazic. They weren't always necessarily white. And that's the material that we're going to look at today.
There it is. They wasn't always. They didn't start out white. They started out as black. So we have white Jews, people that are practicing Judaism, rabbis high up in Judaism who knows this history about their religion, whom Saneter says that it's this religion belongs to them. But they say that this religion started with us. So who is lying? Is it the black Israelites? Is it the white Jews? Or is it the non-Jewish heathens like Saneter and those over there at HOK?